Hello, my name is Randy Hopkins with Provo and Pritchard, and today we're doing a McMullin Area GSA Sigma update to let people know what's been happening within the GSA and where things are heading. As you may know, the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, or SGMA, was designed to be implemented by local agencies. To date, the McMullin Area GSA has been formed and will begin the development of its groundwater sustainability plan, the implementation of that plan in order to achieve sustainability. Under SGMA, the GSAs, or groundwater sustainability agencies, are charged with the implementation of the Act. Groundwater sustainability agencies are given a number of authorities and responsibilities under the laws and regulations. These include developing the groundwater sustainability plan, well registration, metering, reporting, and monitoring, the regulation, limitations, or suspension of groundwater pumping, procurement of surface water for groundwater replenishment, adoption of rules, regulations, and ordinances related to groundwater management, enforcement actions of those rules and regulations, and the assessment or development of administration fees. The McMullin Area GSA is one of 7 GSAs within the Kings Subbasin. The Kings Subbasin is listed as a priority basin under DWR's regulations. That means that by 2020, the entire Kings Subbasin must have sustainability plans in place. In addition to the McMullin Area GSA, which is here located in purple, we also have within the basin the North Kings GSA in green, the Central Kings GSA in blue, the Kings River East GSA in pink, the North Fork Kings GSA in yellow, James ID GSA in orange, and then the new South Kings GSA, which is comprised of some of the communities within the Central Kings GSA. All of these GSAs are working collectively to coordinate their efforts as required under SGMA in order to achieve sustainability for the Kings Subbasin. Here we have a more detailed view of the McMullin Area GSA boundary. This is including the Raisin City Water District to the south, the Mid-Valley Water District here along the James Bypass, and the undistricted or white areas which are managed and represented by the county up to the river and down to McMullin Grade. Work on the McMullin Area GSA began in around 2015 to begin implementation of SGMA. This has culminated in the development of a Joint Powers Authority for the GSA, which was finally executed in January of this year. The Joint Powers Authority consists of the County of Fresno, Raisin City Water District, and Mid-Valley Water District. There are 5 board members which represent those 3 agencies. The board consists of 2 Raisin City Water District directors, Don Cameron and Jerry Rye, 1 Mid-Valley Water District director, Jeevan Singh, County Supervisor Brian Pacheco, and a landowner representative from the white area, which is also an appointed county representative, Mr. Matt Abercrombie. The board for the McMullin Area GSA began meeting in March. In that time, they've released a request for qualifications for technical, engineering, and consulting services, and received a recommendation from county staff regarding selection of an engineering consultant, and that contract was awarded to Provost and Pritchard Engineering at the June 15th meeting. Director Cameron has been participating in the Kings Basin coordination effort between the 7 GSAs, and these have included the following tasks: development of a hydrogeologic conceptual model for the entire Kings Subbasin, calculation estimates of the groundwater storage within the Kings Subbasin, and estimates of the groundwater flow between the GSAs for the basin. All of these items are required under SGMA to be part of all GSPs. As we mentioned earlier, SGMA is designed to be implemented by local agencies. Again, to date, the GSA has been formed for the McMullin area. Paperwork was submitted to the Department of Water Resources in April of this year, and by July of this year, we should receive notification from DWR that the McMullin Area GSA will be the exclusive GSA for this region. The next step in the SGMA process is to develop the groundwater sustainability plan. This will be a detailed plan with a robust stakeholder involvement process. This plan is due by January 31st of 2020. At that point, then the GSA will be responsible to implement the plan in order to achieve sustainability by 2040. The next step in the process to comply with SGMA is the development of the groundwater sustainability plan. This will include developing a water budget that looks at a 50-year planning horizon with the goal of achieving sustainability in the next 20 years. There will be a series of measurable objectives and thresholds which the GSA will determine are appropriate for this area and by which they'll manage the groundwater within the basin. Annual reporting to DWR will be required, and evaluations for how well the GSA is complying with their plan will be submitted to the state every 5 years. There are a number of challenges in working towards sustainability for the groundwater basin. SGMA itself requires implementation to be developed so that undesirable results based on a significant and unreasonable standard are avoided. These specifically include chronic lowering of groundwater levels, subsequent reductions in groundwater storage, degradation of groundwater quality, land subsidence, and surface water depletions that have adverse impacts on beneficial uses. And although not an issue within our area, seawater intrusion for coastal areas. This slide shows how a number of sustainability indicators might be measured and managed once the GSP has been implemented. For instance, under the indicator for lowering of groundwater levels, there will be a measurable objective, some groundwater level, which the GSA will try to achieve over the course of the implementation of the plan. There will also be a minimum threshold by which, if groundwater levels continue to decline over the course of the implementation, the GSA will begin to act to correct those groundwater levels. The next couple of slides are for reference about where groundwater levels are within the Kings Subbasin. In the spring of 2015, groundwater levels were taken throughout most of the Kings Subbasin. And this map shows water levels generally are shallower on the east side of the basin and get deeper as you move to the west side of the basin, with groundwater depths nearly 240 feet back in the spring of 2015. And for reference, there is a black boundary that shows the McMullin area GSA and where the groundwater levels are within that GSA. For reference, this is a different way to look at the groundwater elevations within the Kings Subbasin, but you can see again, based on the contours, groundwater elevations generally fall from the east to the west. Subsidence is another indicator which needs to be measured under SGMA. This map, provided by NASA, shows the rate of subsidence within the central San Joaquin Valley from October of 2015 through March of 2016. The lighter colors, such as blue, show relatively little subsidence, while the darker colors, such as red, show a high level of subsidence within the area. Within the McMullin area GSA, there has been relatively little subsidence, although there has been some. Under SGMA, the State Water Resources Control Board can intervene and move the basin towards groundwater sustainability if certain milestones aren't met. The first milestone in which the state would have an opportunity to take control of the groundwater basin is June 30, 2017. If by July 1st of this year, no GSA has been developed for the area, the state could intervene. However, the McMullin area GSA has been formed and paperwork submitted to the state, and we see no reason at this time to believe the state will intervene because of this. The next milestone that must be achieved by all GSAs within the Kings Subbasin is to submit a groundwater sustainability plan that's acceptable to the California Department of Water Resources no later than January 31st of 2020. If by February 1st they have not received that plan, or if the plan has failed DWR's review, the state again has the opportunity to intervene. Subsequent milestones which the State Water Resources Control Board can intervene will be every 5 years, and that would be if the GSA fails in its implementation of its plan and meeting its interim milestones. If the State Board does intervene on behalf of any of the GSAs within the Kings Subbasin, the entire subbasin would be put on probationary status and directly regulated by the State Water Resources Control Board. They would have the opportunity to develop a set of fees to recover their costs. This would also require direct reporting of all groundwater pumping to the State Board and a development by the State Board of an interim plan to get the GSAs back on track. Generally speaking, the strategy to achieve sustainability in that interim plan will be limited to the reduction or suspension of groundwater pumping within the region. Groundwater recharge or procurement of additional surface water will not be options at this time. This slide shows the fees which have been published by the State Water Resources Control Board that they can begin levying in 2018 if they have to step in and become the interim GSA. Again, the McMullin area GSA has filed their paperwork with the state, and we don't believe that there is any risk at this time that the state will come in and become the interim GSA. However, for information, we wanted to put this in front of everyone within the GSA. The base filing fee each landowner would have to pay would be $300 per well. In addition to that $300 per well fee, the state would require an area which is unmanaged that maybe doesn't have a GSA to pay $25 per acre foot of water pumped. And because you would be on a probationary status, you would also be required to pay a $40 per acre foot pumped fee to the state. In addition, they would charge another $55 an acre foot to develop the interim plan. And they notice there are asterisks on those numbers, and that would also indicates that if there are special studies required to develop these interim plans, those fees would be on top of the fees that have been published. Additionally, if there are late payers to the state, they will charge a late fee of 25% per month. So what do these fees mean? The example the State Board has been using is a 50-acre farm which pumps 3.5 acre feet per acre. The cost per acre for an unmanaged area or an area that does not have a GSA in place is $94 per acre. However, in our instance in the McMullin area, the GSA has been formed, so it's likely that this $94 fee would not be applied. However, if the state did come in and have to regulate the GSA, they would charge $146 per acre, plus an additional $199 per acre. The total fees for the 50-acre farm in this example, using 3.5 acre feet per acre, would be just over $17,000, and these would be annual fees due to the state every year. In order for the state to assess those fees that we mentioned in the previous slide, groundwater extraction reports would be required to be filed directly to the State Board each year. These reports would include the location and capacity of every well on the farm, the monthly extraction volumes, and the place and purpose of use of that water that was pumped within the farm. There is an exemption for de minimis users in unmanaged areas. This exemption only applies to water pumpers who use the water specifically for domestic purposes and that use less than 2 acre feet of water per year. If the State Board came in to develop the interim plan, they would develop a list of corrective actions, which would include how to get the GSP back on schedule in this instance, or how to better implement that GSP. A schedule by which those corrective actions would occur, any environmental analysis or CEQA that would be required to consider projects or programs or actions by the state to implement that plan, and then a monitoring plan to make sure that those actions are being met and that the basin is indeed making progress towards sustainability. The McMullin area GSA wants everyone to be involved. We would like your help to spread the word, to let people know that there is a McMullin area GSA, that they are working on SGMA, and that there are regular board meetings. Additionally, we would like you to participate in the development of the GSP. and define what is sustainability for the McMullin area GSA. What are the significant and unreasonable results that DWR requires are defined for this area? And we would like your help to identify projects and programs which will help bring this area into sustainability, and what funding might be available or what might need to be developed to make these projects happen. There are a number of other websites you can go to for information on SGMA. The California Department of Water Resources has their website. The State Water Resources Control Board has their website. The Kings River region has a website also for SGMA, kingsgroundwater.info. And the McMullin area GSA has a new website, mcmullinarea.org, with links to all of these websites included. This is a screenshot of the homepage for mcmullinarea.org. You'll notice on the right there is a sign-up list for anybody who's interested in receiving email updates about what is happening within the McMullin area GSA. We have a general map of the region. We have board agendas and minutes from prior board meetings. We have a calendar of upcoming events, and we have a contact page where you can get in contact with folks from the McMullin area GSA. Thank you for your interest in the McMullin area GSA. Please check back regularly at the mcmullinarea.org website for upcoming events and meetings. Thank you.